it's the EFN Presents review of the Season 4 premiere, Princess Twilight, Parts 1 and 2. Joining me today, I have CowboyDave.
Howdy, howdy.
And ScrewLoose.
Season 4, folks!
Okay, so this is the season premiere, and there are definitely some big changes on the horizon if this episode is any indication. We start off in Canterlot, where Twilight is getting ready to take part in the Summer Sun celebration with Celestia and Luna, while her friends have to return to Ponyville to take care of the festivities there. Twilight wakes up to find it both day and nighttime outside, and despite her inexperience, her title means that everyone in Canterlot is now looking to her for guidance and leadership, as it is soon discovered that Celestia and Luna have disappeared. Upon receiving news that the Everfree forest is expanding, Twilight heads back to Ponyville to help her friends. Feeling this is the work of Discord, the main six summon him using the elements of harmony, though he denies any involvement. Using an alicorn potion from Zecora, Twilight sees flashbacks to major events in Equestria's history, including the banishment of Nightmare Moon, the defeat of Discord, and the discovery of the elements of harmony, and the Tree of Harmony, which she learns is running out of magic and its ability to control the surrounding lands. Working with her friends, Twilight manages to return the elements of harmony to the tree, restoring order to the forest and freeing Celestia and Luna at the expense of their most valuable MacGuffin. Discord appears to still be under control despite the loss of having the elements used against him, and while we learned that not caused by him directly, the preceding events were set in motion by him when he was first defeated by Celestia and Luna. Twilight and her friends return to Canterlot, and the celebration goes off without a hitch. So the name of this episode was Princess Twilight, and really that was the elephant in the room since the Season 3 finale was announced. Everyone was concerned that this was going to be the end of Twilight's character. It was going to destroy the show. So I'm kind of curious to hear how you guys felt this episode kind of addressed or dealt with some of the concerns of Twilight becoming a princess and what direction you think they're taking her character.
I think it was a great segue into the new season. Season's closer, I'm guessing they originally wrote it to be a series closer. So now that they kind of painted themselves into a corner at first, and they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? Let's make it even more awesome. So I think they handled it okay.
I think they did a pretty good job, and honestly, it was kind of nice to see that they were painting it as Twilight's still getting used to, being referred to as a princess and still familiarizing herself with the kind of duties and the kind of confidence and
the wings.
Yeah, and the wings especially in this episode.
Good gravy. Flight lessons? I mean, maybe she needs the Flight Lessons for Dummies book.
And then Spike wouldn't need to wear that seatbelt anymore. But yeah, they did a good balance between sort of the humorous aspects and the serious aspects of it, because you've got Twilight, there's kind of that jalopy sound as she takes off to fly back to Ponyville, and Spike has a seatbelt. And at the beginning, when Celestia walks in, when they're going over the checklist, Twilight is, nervous of how to address Celestia, and she's making a list. She's Twilight. She's still doing everything that Twilight does, but then she
pulls a Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
And then you've got the more serious aspects where when they're in the forest, they're like, geez, Twilight, we're kind of running low on princesses. Maybe this isn't the place for you. And so she's kind of torn between helping her friends and doing what she feels is what she should be doing, helping kind of save Canterlot or save Ponyville.
It's kind of interesting that in the episode that seemed to really blow her away too, because she still thinks, yeah, we're this group of we're a team. Main six here, yeah, we're this team, and they're like, well, there's only so many princesses in the world, and the only two we know of are missing, so that leaves you. And she's like, oh, dude, her mind is still in that, yeah, we're this team.
Exactly. And then you've got when Celestia and Luna disappear, what happens is Twilight's automatically just thrown into this situation where everyone in Canterlot, they're coming to her, and it's like, it's Twilight, Princess Twilight. She'll know what to do, and she doesn't. And then you've got the guards, and they're like, Princess Twilight, we await your orders. And she's like, orders? But, she eventually does step up to the plate. She's kind of, I guess, growing into the role. She's not out of her element. She's adapting to it. And I think that that's really what a large part of this episode is her incorporating these new responsibilities and duties into who she is, which is, I mean, that's something we all do.
Absolutely.
You're making me rather hungry with all these orders and plates and rolls.
Maybe we should pull a M.A. Larson and put some wings on that plate too.
I know.
Maybe with some buffalo barbecue sauce.
Yes.
You are spot on all points there. She comes into her own. She realizes, hey, I'm needed right now. I'm the only option. But then when everybody goes away, we then see the human side, the pony side of it. I'd like to see that same thing with Celestia. I'd like to see that same thing with we saw something like that with Luna when Grand Canterlot voice, and then when she's alone, it's like she looked like she needed a hug.
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic episode. Having Luna's character adapting to, I guess, how Equestria has changed in her absence.
Right.
Actually, we have the flashbacks, and I think that that's definitely something we've heard. All of these stories when we had Nightmare Moon, you hear about when Nightmare Moon was banished by Celestia, and you hear about when, the elements of harmony were used against Discord, and we see that in these episodes through the Alicorn potion from Zecora. We have these flashbacks to these major events in equestrian history that Twilight bears witness to. And that's something I think that there's going to be a lot of... I think people can be really excited to have seen that. But on the other hand, does showing it live up to people's expectations? What do you guys think?
I think absolutely. That was just fantastic to me to see how it all kind of started and seeing like Luna's transformation into Nightmare Moon. That was absolutely wonderful, especially when the destruction of the castle and seeing especially the flight sequence. I think it lived up to every bit of what it could be as far as what everyone had for theories as to how did this come about. Especially myself, I was wondering what happened with the old castle. Where did the harmony or elements of harmony come into this? How did Nightmare Moon come in? It's just like, oh, this happened in this history book when we first started the series.
So much headcanon was destroyed.
Burn!
And not a single thing was lost. But then you see the machine rise from out under the ground. And if you look at it, it almost looks like it could be a mock tree. So I think...
Oh!
Yeah, I think...
I didn't look at it that way, actually. I could definitely see that.
Then we have the tree, which the Pony Sisters decided, hey, you know what? Why don't we build this right on top of it, just to keep the elements right near the tree? And then what's with the new two different symbols on there? Are the princesses going to have to get elements as well? There seems to be a lot of stuff going on here.
Oh, for sure. And Dave, when you mentioned the beginning of the scene with Luna, I honestly think that people are going to go ballistic about that. I wish that they had more time between the episodes, because that was a fantastic cliffhanger to leave off on. Because first of all, like, Luna hasn't gotten a lot of lines, and people have been saying, oh, why doesn't Luna get more screen time or something like that? And not only does Luna get a lot of lines here, but Tabitha does a fantastic job doing a very angry, very intimidating Luna in the transformation to Nightmare Moon. I mean, it was just wonderful.
Mm-hmm. What also caught my attention during the transformation, when she brings up the eclipse, just caught my eye that her expression changed from this anger to kind of shock at the last second before she became Nightmare Moon.
Yes.
I was like,
yes.
ooh.
Is she done screwed up?
Yep, maybe that has a little bit to do with some of the story we've seen in the comics.
Yes. I would like to hope that they're going to try to tie in the comics and the actual series. I mean, let's think about the Luna main series portion. They could have seen that moment of alone and weakness and seized the opportunity.
Although, personally, as far as the comics go, I'm kind of torn in terms of them bringing in an external force that actually is turning Luna into Nightmare Moon, as opposed to Luna's own power and abilities kind of metamorphosizing her, her own emotions and feelings and kind of goals and intentions. Yes, it's the dark side of Luna that materializes as, Nightmare Moon.
Well, we have the dark side of Luna, so conversely, what happens if Celestia would lose control? I would love them to see them eventually work on that possibly into the series.
I just had a funny thought. If Luna was banished to the moon, does that mean Celestia is going to be banished to the sun?
Ouch. Oh, come on. With that ivory fur, ooh, she's going to get skin cancer.
She's going to get one heck of a tan.
Yeah.
ScrewLoose, just to one other thing you had said, where when I had watched it, that's what I thought. I'm like, gee, that's kind of convenient. The castle's right over top of the elements, the Tree of Harmony. And you'd mentioned, and I'm like, wait, that makes more sense, that we don't really know the exact timeline, I guess, of that point of Equestria. So we don't really know that the castle came, or that castle was built like after they found it. And it was kind of like safeguarding of the tree or the elements there. So I think that would make a lot more sense than the way I had previously interpreted it.
Well, yeah, and we don't even know the purpose of the mechanism. Was it just a storage unit? Was it used in conjunction to try to keep whatever thorniness, which we'll come to? I'm very interested about the whole thorny bush. Was that used as well? It's like the book of Starswirl the Bearded from last season.
Yes.
Ow, the box.
Oh my goodness, the box, yes. Well, that's the other big thing, is that the MacGuffin, the elements of harmony that have saved them time and again, and are indeed what was their trump card against Discord, who they've now brought back, is gone. It's gone back to the Tree of Harmony, and I guess it needs them back because it's run out of its power.
Or its plot device.
Or its plot device.
Mm-hmm.
The elements of harmony stopped Discord the first time, so to have any episode with them, they need to invent a reason that they can't use it. That's how it goes. Anytime the elements disappear, well, you know that they're going to find them again, and they're going to save the day with them, right?
Or we already used the power of love.
Well, I was getting kind of annoyed that the elements of harmony were always the surefire silver bullet. It's like, oh, I can't open this bag of chips. Let me go get the elements of harmony. It's just like, what? Every little problem that they deal with where it's bigger than they think they can handle, the instant fallback was elements of harmony. Now that may be completely removed. Well, at least temporarily.
For sure. It's one of those things that's outlived its purpose as far as
a plot device.
A plot device, exactly. Because in terms of the elements, like Rainbow Dash isn't going to abandon them because she doesn't have the element of loyalty around her neck. That's not really how it works, right? They were the embodiment of the elements, which is, how they ended up with them. The important thing here is what is in that box, because certainly what's in the box, that is, that's going to be a running thing.
That's going to be, running gag.
That is going to be huge.
I mean, the keys, okay, what are they going to do? How are they going to get there? What keys are they going to open it? How are they going to get said keys?
Well, certainly we know it's going to be making an appearance a number of times this season, because that's with 6 keys, unless they find them all at once, which would be...
You say this season?
I'm saying this season.
Just this season?
I'm saying just this season.
No, I disagree. I think they're going to possibly pull that into hopefully the 5th season.
Well, that is a little ambitious, because as far as the planning goes, usually they've completed 1 season before they're assured that there's going to be a 5th. So I don't even know what date they would know there is a 5th. So to say this is going to be like a multi-season plot arc is a very bold, considering that they haven't really done anything that ambitious before.
They haven't confirmed that there's going to be another season. I would suggest that they're not going to kill off this money horse, if you'll excuse the pun.
They're not going to hoof a gift horse in the mouth.
Yes. They're not gonna bring it to the glue station just yet, because there's plenty of money left on it. My wife tells me that when Disney finds a horse with money on it, they will ride that horse until it's dead.
That's a little dark, I think.
It's a little dark, but
yeah,
it's right. They will ride this horse until it can go no further. And I think you got at least 2 more seasons out of this series, I think, before it starts getting really stale.
I think it's possible. There's definitely enough material for them to work with. There's definitely enough
desire to watch it. There's enough interest.
Well, there's enough ideas still bouncing around inside of the writers' heads that they haven't done yet. There's still so much more potential that they can put to use in the show.
And if they get really desperate, they just go over to film fiction.
Oh, no. I wouldn't have anyone go there. I was going to comment, though, you guys were theorizing about, what if they carry on to the next season? What if it's kind of throughout this season? Or what if they find, all the keys at the same time? I bet what's going to happen, we're going to completely forget about the box until the season finale, then boom, 6 keys, open the box, and ta-da.
That would be such a shame because...
I would laugh.
I would too, but when you do something this bold, where it's not, hey, here's a new MacGuffin, but you're saying, here's a mystery that we can build stories around, that we can have character growth or motivation or new villains, to make that a one episode idea is rough. And I'm gonna say that's selling the writers short, because if they've done something this bold, honestly, it seems like they've got a new plan, because it was said before with the season 3 finale, Lauren's idea for the characters had kind of been derailed.
Well, don't get me wrong, I'm not selling them short, I'm just thinking of one of the most outrageous things that could possibly happen.
Don't scare me like that, Dave.
Well, I was one of the people that when the idea of, it was first going around of Princess Twilight, I was like, I don't know, I think if they were onto something, why not?
For sure. I mean, and we've seen there is a lot that they can do with it, with the character as she is, not really changing fundamentally who Twilight is.
Absolutely.
So, looking at or hypothesizing as to what is in store, with the box for season 4, I think we need to reflect on what we're going to see from perhaps some of the villains that we've already established. We've already had Discord return, and in fact, Discord is kind of off the chain, as it were, with the elements of harmony gone.
On that, he's off the chain. He is more interesting in this episode than he was in the Reformation episode with Fluttershy. I'm sorry, he had his full-on Discord, but he was just being a little bit of a jerk, just having his giggles, and nothing malicious, just, are you having a giggle, mate? And he was more in tune with what we saw in season 2 than we saw in season 3.
That is his character, and I love the fact that all of the villains in My Little Pony have had their own motivations, and Discord's isn't really to take over, he has no ultimate goal. He is the Joker of the My Little Pony universe. He simply wants to see the world not necessarily burn, because there's no fun in that. He's having fun. And when they did the Reformation episode, they had to keep him on a leash because they couldn't have none of his antics, right? If they're trying to stop him from doing that. In this episode, it is more relaxed. Maybe they're tired of dealing with him. He has a lot of potential as a character, whether he's a villain or not, which I think he's proven here.
No, I definitely agree. I think that it's kind of nice seeing Discord being able to pull some shenanigans and still have a little bit of fun, but he doesn't really seem like an adversary this time around, despite at first they're like, yep, this is all Discord's fault, all the vines starting to show up, we're have to summon him and punish him. Actually, no, it was all about, alright, this is Discord's fault, we're just going to turn him into stone, get this over with, he's obviously at fault here.
Jump into conclusions.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they're saying, you're responsible for this. Well, not responsible, he's causing it. And he wasn't lying, he just didn't tell them the entire truth, and I think that's very fitting with his character. Even though he doesn't tell them everything, it works out in the end, and it's more entertaining for him, but he almost is a better friend than they are, which he says, and I mean, he's right, because it's Fluttershy has to kind of come to his defense that, hold on, guys, we, every time we have suspicions, we can't be turning him into stone, and he was telling the truth, that he was not the one causing that.
We all know of what has been rumored about with his songs.
Oh, you mean Winter Wrap Up in the bathtub?
That, I don't know if that counts here yet. but I'd love for him to have his actual own Pinky-esque number, and I believe that will be just as awesome as the smile, smile, smile. Given John Delancey's personality, his larger-than-life personality, he would really love to ham it up. Because he is essentially playing himself. He's playing Q. He loves it. So I think we're going to see some really fun stuff. And now, how many little keyholes were on that thing? It was 6, right?
It was 6, yes.
That's only 6 episodes. And of those 6 episodes, you could probably dice that up a little more, but there's still plenty of episodes in here to really have some fun. And I think they're doing a huge paradigm shift. It was suggested as we were watching this that this box is getting rid of the elements. Well, not getting rid of, but removing that particular plot device. We're taking the show to a different way. We're expanding it. We're going somewhere a little bit different. We're gonna stay true to it, but we're gonna go a little more. And I love this episode, these 2 episodes, because of the world building, the history building. It just screams awesome.
I agree. It's certainly not necessarily taking the same route that Lauren Faust had in mind for the series, but it's kind of interesting that the writers are adding their own flair to it and taking it in a new direction that's, not necessarily bad because it's not what Lauren had in mind, but it's definitely something that hadn't really been considered, and people were concerned with the integrity that would be left in the show with her absent from it. I think that the writers this time, this season 3 was kind of, it was okay, but it just kind of felt like it was just kind of buying time. But this season looks like it's going to be rock solid, if this is any indication of what the rest of the season is going to be like.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's keeping the roots, and it's showing that it's keeping those roots, because you've got Discord singing Winter Wrap-Up, you've got Pinky's twitchy tail makes an appearance when they're in the library, and that vine kind of flies through the window. That it's the same show, it's the same characters, it's the same world, but
it's a new adventure.
It's a new adventure, and they're saying, we're moving forward with this, and they're not pussyfooting around. It's going to grab people's attention and get people really excited in the direction that they're going with this season.
It has been a very long pony drought. And I think the monsoon has just begun.
Yes.
I think you're right.
So I think it's time for final thoughts here. Dave, what was your overall impression of the episode? And give it a score from 1 to 5.
I think this is a rock solid start to the 4th season. I'm definitely looking forward to having a full season this time around, and looking forward to the story that they can build off of this. I mean, the box, obviously, that's been a very hot topic throughout this entire review, if you want to put it that way. I think it was great that they brought in a little bit of storytelling, having the flashback, being able to see the events that happened in the past, but also showing that they're taking the show in an entirely new direction. The elements of harmony are kind of put on the back burner. We've got a new focus for this coming season, and I have to say that is just great. I'm really looking forward to what they have to offer. So I'm going to give this, I have to give this 4 out of 5 missing elements of harmony. And I would have given it 5 out of 5, but I'm a huge Luna fan, so I would have liked to have seen a little bit more Luna chiming in here and there, but I can definitely see why they couldn't get that in. That's just me being picky, so.
I am on the same page as Dave here, because I'm really excited, because I'm a huge person for world building, for history building. I feel bad for a lot of you story writers out there. I mean, you got a lot of headcanon that just went. Now we know what happened with Luna. Now we know what happens if Luna and Celestia. What if they kick it? Is their powers going to go to somebody else? Well, we see the world just seems to go on sort of normally, but everything stops. All the sun and the moon are the same in the sky. I'm really interested to see how they handle that this upcoming season. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, but that's because Lesson Zero and Read It and Weep kind of have a special place in my heart. Those two are the level, but yeah, this is setting up to be a really awesome season. Look at the comics.
I definitely have to agree with you guys on a lot of those points. So rather than kind of repeat those, I think I'll go more on a technical look at this episode. I think compared to the season 3 finale, this definitely shows through the pacing and just the volume of material and scenes that they had, the difference between a 1-part and a 2-part season opener closer. And there is no way they could have had a story with this much in it without it being a 2-parter. In terms of the look of the show, I know a lot of people when we've been watching this are just blown away by the bloom, the lighting that the characters have when you have Celestia fighting Nightmare Moon, as well as in the opening when they're in the hall looking at Princess Twilight's stained glass window. And so I really think that there's a lot of growth on just the production side of the show, and I think that it's going to open more opportunities for some pretty epic scenes, like when they fight that the crocodile there. Some really nice integration of 3D elements with the 2D animation, and every season it seems to grow and grow in terms of what they're able to put in these episodes and what they're able to show us and just how fantastic it looks. So I think that that's very promising for the season going forward, and that is why I'm going to have to give this episode a 5 out of 5. Just a fantastic episode, a bold step forward for the series and for the people working on it, and I cannot wait to see what comes next.
Ooh, 5 Princess Twilights out of 5. Ding, ding, ding.
I thought we were counting missing elements of harmony, but...
Oh, I screwed up. Sorry, folks.
So
5 random seeds planted by Discord out of 5.
There we go.
Yes. So that about wraps it up from all of us here at Everfree Network. Tune in next week for a review of Season 4, Episode 3, Castle Mania, when we make a return to Princess Celestia and Luna's old castle that we saw in the season opener.
Ooh.
Once again, I am Ramble, and with me were CowboyDave.
Howdy.
And ScrewLoose.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching.